Author's note: this video is my review of The Batman, based on Batman by Bob Kane and Bill Finger, directed by Matt Reeves, published by Warner Bros., DC Comics, 6 in Idaho, and Dylan Clark Productions. Available on HBO Max. Starring Robert Pattinson, Zoe Kravitz, Jeffrey Wright, John Turturro, Peter Skarsgård, Andy Serkis, Colin Farrell, and Paul Dano as the Riddler. Rated PG-13.
The hell are you supposed to be?
I'm vengeance.
Now, what's a movie review year without Batman? It's something I like to do every year, and this is no exception. With the recent murders of Gotham City Mayor Don Mitchell Jr. and Police Commissioner Pete Savage, it's up to the Batman to investigate the secrets of the Riddler, only to discover the dark corruption buried within the streets of Gotham. I have seen live-action Batman films that are dark, like the original Tim Burton take, the Dark Knight trilogy, and even a bit of Zack Snyder's take on Batman. But this one is brutally dark, pulls no punches, and enjoys every moment of its darkness in a disturbing way. This is one film that I would recommend against letting little kids watch despite its PG-13 rating. And not only that, but also showcases the rot that dwells within the city, feeling a bit too similar to real life. Politics, and even the law, can definitely have its own buildup of sins.
These nights all roll together in a rush. Behind the mask.
This version of Batman/Bruce Wayne starts out as one of the most cynical takes on the Dark Knight in live-action history before evolving into a beacon of hope for Gotham City. But what makes me attached to this take on the character is for two reasons. First is his skills as a detective, uncovering the clues that the Riddler left behind and the dark mystery buried within Gotham City. This is the kind of stuff that kept me on my toes, wondering what's going to pop up next. The other is more connected to the sins of his own late father, Thomas Wayne. It shows that even as the protector of Gotham, Batman has his own flaws to deal with.
You got a lot of cats.
Never think that straight.
Compared to the Burtonverse and the Nolanverse versions, I actually prefer this version of Selina Kyle, aka Catwoman, the most. While she starts off almost similar to those counterparts, it's more her backstory that does keep me interested, along with her ties to Carmine Falcone, her own motives, and her path towards vengeance. It's too bad we don't see much of Selina during the film, because I would have enjoyed to see more of her in action. A real shame if you ask me. If they do a sequel, I'd like to see her expanded upon beyond her main story.
I'm just an instrument, here to unmask the truth about this cesspool we call a city.
This version of the Riddler is, without a doubt, the creepiest take on the iconic character ever. Even if we don't count the lines he's crossed with the actions he pulled, his attitude, charisma, and nihilism factor that makes your typical internet troll look like a well-behaved citizen. But even despite his dive into being a monster, there are some moments that make the Riddler look sympathetic, even compared to a bigger monster like Carmine Falcone, and even why he went down this horrible path. I gotta give kudos to Paul Dano into making this take on the Riddler as one of the best things of this film.
Some event, huh? Brought out the one guy in the city more reclusive than me.
Thought you'd never leave the shoreline.
Even with its flaws, The Batman is an enjoyable and yet dark film. It's a new, fresh take on the Dark Knight that goes beyond the Burtonverse, the Snyderverse, and the Nolanverse. And if you have HBO Max or a Blu-ray player, I recommend checking this out. Just remember what I said. You may want to refrain from showing the kids this film. It's not a pretty sight.